Hello, good morning, students. Welcome in today's class through online teaching. In today's class, we will start a poem entitled Dover Beach, and this poem has been included in BA Part 3rd syllabus, paper 1st, Poetry and Drama. And this poem is written by Matthew Arnold, who is a famous Victorian poet. He was born in 1822 in England and he was died in 1888. Dover Beach is a lyric poem by the English poet Matthew Arnold, and it was published in 1867 in the collection New Poems. The poem Dover Beach was published in 1867 in New Collection. Dover Beach is a real place in England, and Arnold's poem Dover Beach is set there. Dover Beach unites two countries in European continent, England and France. This poem is written in monologue form where the speaker is poet himself and his beloved is silent listener. Poet went there to enjoy his honeymoon time after his marriage. This poem is divided into 5 stanzas. Stanza, the poet sees the calm sea in full tide at the Dover beach. In the second stanza, the poet describes the roaring of the evening sea, strikes a note of sadness in poet's mind. In the third stanza, the poet says that Sophocles, who was a Greek poet, was reminded of human misery as he heard the roar of the sea waves at the Greek coast. In the fourth stanza, the poet tells us that once the sea of faith grilled this earth, but it is now retreating. People lost their morality. In the last stanza, the poet asks us to love each other as this world is really a joyless place. Now we will explain the poem. The sea is calm tonight, the tide is full, the moon lies fair. Upon the straits on the French coast the light gleams and is gone, the cliffs of England stand, glimmering and vast, out in tranquil way. Come to the window, sweet is the night air, only from the long line of spray, where the sea meets the moon, blanched land. Listen, you hear the grating roar of pebbles which the waves draw back and fling. At their return up the high strand, begin and cease, and then again begin. With tremulous cadence slow and ring the eternal note of sadness in. These are the opening lines of the poem Dover Beach. One night the poet is standing near the shore at Dover. The moon is shining in the sky. Its light is falling over the whole strait of Dover. The French coast is also shining in the moonlight. The speaker looks out upon a calm sea and observes the fullness of the tide and the moon reflecting on the water. Looking across the English Channel, the speaker sees the lights of the French coast fade away. The light of the French coast fade away, while the cliff of England coast stand tall and bright. Suddenly, the speaker addresses someone. She, uh, she may be his beloved, and asks this person to come and look at the beautiful scene of the sea and to enjoy night's pleasant air. But now the sea is not calm, the ebb and flow of the waves has started. Sophocles long ago heard it on a Aegean and brought into his mind the turbid ebb and flow of human misery. We find also in the sound a thought, hearing it by this distant northern sea. The sea of faith was once, to at the full and round earth's shore, lay like the folds of a bright girdle pearl, but now I only hear its melancholy, long, withdrawing roar, retreating to the breath of the night wind down the vast ages, drearer and naked shingles of the world. In these lines, the poet Matthew Arnold says that Sophocles, who was a Greek dramatist from 496 to 406 BC, at the coast of Aegean Sea, he heard the roaring sound of the ebb and flow of the sea waves. Like Matthew Arnold, the poet says to his beloved, the hearing sound Sophocles was reminded of the increase and decrease of man's miseries. Sometimes man becomes very miserable due to physical illness or loss of his relative or intimate friend. This is the flow of miseries. After some time, he feels a bit relieved of miseries, and this is its eve. But he is never perfectly happy. A man can never perfectly happy. Soon again the miseries increase. When Arnold hears the roaring sound at Dover, he is reminded of loss of man's religious faith, as he tells us in the next stanza. The poet tells us here that the retreating waves tell him the story of decreasing religious faith. Religious faith surrounded man's life in olden days like a bright folded belt. Every man had faith in some religion. Generally, every man had faith in God and morality. But in modern scientific age, God has been forgotten. To the poet, the faithless world of today appears as cheerless as the naked pebbles of the seashore when the waves have ebbed away. Matthew Arnold expresses pessimism in this poem Dover Beach. He says that there is no joy, love, gratitude, peace, or help left in this world. It is a dark place where ignorant people are struggling against each other, knowing not why. According to Arnold, the only cure to the world's ills is love, to be true to each other, and this he wants us to learn. And in the last line, he says that man can kindle light in this dark world through love alone.